Good afternoon and welcome to our fourth live session today on applying for halls. So in today's session, we are going to give you a step-by-step guide of how to apply for halls and also some top tips to make sure that you make the most out of your application. So just a reminder that all of our live sessions are recorded. So again, you can rewatch today's session or any of our other sessions by looking onto the event webpage, and you can catch up on anything that you've missed or all the additional content we have on there as well anytime you'd like. So in terms of today's session, we will have a presented section at the start. And then once we've done that segment, we will then move on to the Q&A, where we will go over some of your pre-submitted and the live Q&A questions as they come in. So first of all, we are going to watch a video all about how our application process works.
Hi, I'm Jaleesa. I'm going to be talking you through the application process for accommodation in halls. To apply for accommodation, you will need to visit our website, which will take you to a link to our application portal, where you will need to register as a first-time user for an account. To do this, you will need a student ID number, which is 8 digits long. You will get this number on your course offer letter. To apply, you will need to click on the register button below, which will take you to this account creation page. Firstly, enter your student ID. Please note this is different to your UCAS number. Then enter your first and last name as it is shown in your university offer letter. You do not need to include any middle names. Followed then by your date of birth and your preferred email address. This is the email your accommodation formal offer will be sent to. Lastly, you will need to create a password which is a minimum of 6 letters long and includes at least one number. Then click Next. This page shows a summary of your personal details. Please ensure this is correct before clicking Finish. You will now be asked for a validation code which will be sent to your email address you have just entered. Please do check your junk mail if you're unable to see it in your inbox. Now you have successfully registered, you will be able to apply for accommodation by clicking on the Apply button. The first part of the process is to select the correct academic year you are intending to stay in halls. Then select which type of student you are, either new or returning to halls. Next, you will need to select whether you are an undergraduate, postgraduate, or a family or couple. In this section, you will need to select where you will be studying. If you would prefer to live with postgraduates, you can also select this option. On this page, it will highlight the options available to you under the pathway you have selected. Each site has its own section, which will detail the amenities it has to offer, along with the room types, the different contract lengths, and the weekly costs. We also have a selection of catered halls to choose from too. Please visit our accommodation website for more information. You can also use the bar on the left-hand side to filter your search. For reference, license refers to your preferred contract length. When you click Apply on your preferred halls, it will take you into the site's individual page. Here, you can read a brief description about the halls, the facilities on offer, see a variety of pictures, and a map to locate where the hall is. Below, there is a selection of different room types with various contract lengths and catering options to choose from, with the weekly price. Once you've made your decision, please click Apply. Once you have made a selection, it will take you to your Preferences page, where you'll be able to view the options you have selected. You will not be able to proceed until you have selected a minimum of 3, although you can select up to 5 preferences. The more options, the better. To select more options, just click on Add Another, and it will take you back to the overall sites page, where you can view more options. When making your further selections, be sure to take a look at what each hall site has to offer. Check out the icons and descriptions on the site page for more information. Once you've made your final choices, you can amend the order of your preferences, which you can do so by clicking the Move Up or Down button. When you are happy, you can click Next. You have the option on this page to provide further detail. Here, you can select if you would prefer to live with all male or all female students. You can also make a choice between alcohol-free or quieter lifestyle. Selecting one or both of these options means you are agreeing to adhere to that lifestyle choice and will respect those within your flat's request for that lifestyle choice too. We cannot guarantee you an area which is going to be completely free from noise, as living in halls will involve a level of noise, nor can we guarantee that you will be placed in an alcohol-free area. Below, you will find a free text box, which is great for adding any additional information you would like to make us aware of prior to your arrival. You can add any additional information in here. For example, if you have any medical requirements which would involve adaptations made to your room, this is where you would let us know. If this applies to you, you will also need to register with our enabling services to ensure you get the best support during your stay with us. Once you have finished adding the final touches, click Next. You will now be taken to a summary screen where you can see the choices you have made. If you are happy with your application and wish to proceed, please click Submit. This screen provides links to your contract and the terms and conditions you are agreeing to when staying with us in halls. You will need to read these two documents carefully, as by ticking the confirmation box, you are confirming you understand the university's requirements. Congratulations, you have now successfully completed an application form for accommodation at the University of Southampton. The deadline for all new applicants is the 1st of August. For further information on the guarantee, please visit our website. We do not allocate on a first-come, first-served basis. Once you've received your results, check back on the accommodation portal's dashboard to see progress with your application. Here it will show if your application has been submitted or offered, and will show details on your offer. I hope you found this video useful. We have a step-by-step application guide on our website which you can download. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram for updates on our halls and what we've been up to. We look forward to welcoming you to our halls of accommodation.
Thank you to Charlie and Jaleesa for putting that video together. So there you go, a step-by-step guide of how our application process works. Having seen that, just worth highlighting that our application process is currently live. And as Jaleesa mentioned in the presentation, as long as you get in before the 1st of August, we don't do first come, first served. So also, if you may want to look at our halls that are on offer again, and we did a session on Tuesday called Which Halls Are Right For Me, and if you wish you can go to our event website and you'll be able to watch that again to get a better idea of what you might want to apply for with your halls application. Next, I'm going to hand over to Rosaline, who's going to give you some of her top tips in order to make the most of your application.
Sorry, I think I was muted then. You think after a year of this, I would have got used to unmuting myself. So I'll say that again. I am really pleased to see so many people here today. My name is Rosaline. I'm a residences manager. I've worked in accommodation allocations for around 7 years, which means I've seen about 100,000 applications for accommodation. So I'm going to give you my 5 top tips for making a great application. So the most important thing is don't leave it too late. We've got a really generous guarantee of accommodation, which means that you can put Southampton as either your firm or your insurance choice, and then apply for a place in halls. You don't have to wait for your results or anything like that, but you have to apply by the 1st of August in the year that you come to study. We don't allocate on a first come, first served basis. You might like to get your application in earlier anyway, just so you've got it out of the way and it's done. But we won't allocate on a first come, first served basis, and you do have until the 1st of August to get your application in. We allocate after the 1st of August, and then we make offers after A-levels are released. If you apply after the 1st of August, we can't guarantee to be able to make you an offer, and if we can, it may not be for the hall that you particularly want, but it is worth putting an application in then anyway. However, to be covered by the guarantee, the 1st of August is the date that you really need to remember. My second tip is to think carefully about what options you put on your application and make sure you choose options that you'd be happy to live in. As you've seen today, you need to put at least 3 preferences on your application form. We have a lot of different types of accommodation, so take a moment to consider which options will be best for you. For instance, what can you afford? Being short of money isn't fun, so choose options that fit in with your budget. Look at the facilities available in each hall and consider what's important to you. If you plan to get a part-time job, you might prefer to live closer to town. If you don't want to have to worry about cooking or budgeting for food, then why not consider a catered hall? Another thing to think about is the contract length. Most undergraduates are fine with 36, 38 or 40-week contracts, but if you want to be here for 51 weeks or you need to be, then pick a hall that offers that contract length. And then finally, if you have any medical requirements, let us know so we can take those into account to get you into the most suitable accommodation. So it may seem really obvious, but to get you the best and most suitable offer we can the first time, make sure your application contains preferences that you are actually happy with and you want to live in. As you've just seen in the video, you can give us a bit more information on your lifestyle preferences on the application. So just before going back over those, I'll give you a little bit of an overview of how we actually allocate accommodation. We try to place students with other similar students. So we know that freshers and postgraduates have different priorities with their study, and freshers and returning students also. So we allocate all these different types of students into different areas, different flats, different blocks within the halls. We try to create diverse but balanced flats when it comes to males and females, courses being studied and nationalities. However, the lifestyle, the lifestyle preferences you can select represent things that previous students have requested in order to live happily and comfortably in halls. So you can choose to live in an all-male or an all-female flat, or you can choose to live with residents who don't drink alcohol in the flat. We have quieter lifestyle flats, which are ideal for students who aren't keen on flat parties and loads of noise. You can choose to live with postgraduates if you want to. Postgraduates tend to be older and quieter than undergraduates, so some people prefer that. You can also pick to live in a show flat. So you can choose any of those or none of them when you make your application. So tip number 4 is not one for everyone, but if you need assistance while at university, you will need to know the Enabling Services team. They have a wide remit supporting students to achieve all they can at university. In conjunction with our allocations team, they can advise on additional requirements that you need before you arrive, such as physical adaptations or a specific room placement. Their email address is enable@sotton.ac.uk. That's the one on the screen there now. If you think you would benefit from their assistance, then do contact them before you arrive. And my final tip is don't worry, this is a very important process for you and hopefully it's a very exciting one too, but don't get too hung up looking for the most perfect room for you. A lot of your university memories will stem from the people you meet and the friendships you make and the experiences that you have while you're here. We did offer 96% of applicants their first or second preference last year, so the chance of you getting what you want is really good. However, if you don't, or if things don't work out as planned when you've arrived, there's loads of support available to you, including our excellent student life team. And you're never too far away from things, as your Unilink bus pass makes getting around the city free and easy. So starting university, it's a big change, but we can't wait to see you. Just a summary of the points again there on the screen for you now. And we really look forward to seeing as many of you as we can in September.
Thank you for that, Ros. So again, I guess a couple of key things from there. That 1st of August deadline. I know we keep talking about it, but really keep that in mind and make sure you get your application in before then. Also, Ros referred to Enabling Services as part of our Wednesday session, Safe and Secure You and Your Wellbeing. We had Lawrence Pearman there from the Enabling team who gave an overview of what they do and also how they can support you. So if that's something you would like to find out more about and you weren't at that session, you can catch up with that session now on our event website, along with lots of other content, as I've mentioned before. We will very shortly open the Q&A and start to answer all your questions. If you see any questions you like, is in terms of the ones that you want response to, rather than writing the same question again, if you see someone else has already asked it, you are able to like that question. And what we'll try and do is prioritize the ones with the most likes, and we'll try and work through as many of your questions as we can as possible. So I will move on to the Q&A now. And let's see what we've got. First one for you, Ros. I know this has been touched on, but is is it, do you allocate on a first come, first served basis?
We do not. As I've said in my presentation just then, we wait till all the applications from the 1st of August are received, and then we start allocating at that point. So although it may give you peace of mind to apply earlier, because then you've done it, you know it's out of the way and you haven't got to worry about it, you do have up until the 1st of August to make your application. You don't need to wait for your results. That's very important, because we can guarantee an offer of accommodation to firm and insurance choice offer holders. You don't need to wait for your A-level results before you make an application.
Cool, thank you for that, Ros. We also had a question regarding how utilities work in the Hello, sorry, am I back? So I'll carry on with that question. Sorry if you lost me just then. In regard to utilities and bills, the price you see on our website in regard to fees includes all your utilities, your Wi-Fi, contents insurance, and so it gives you, there's no extra bills or hidden costs, so you've got nothing to worry about. That also includes your Unilink bus pass, which I should have said as well. So in regard to utilities, if you were talking about bills, then nothing to worry about that. It's all included in the price that you see on our halls of accommodation website. In regard to the communal facilities in the flats, so all flats will have a communal kitchen. In there you have space within, you'll have a shelf in the fridge and space within the cupboards. You'll have one cupboard dedicated to you. Sorry, one shelf in the fridge and freezer, I should have said. And in shared wash facilities, obviously there are bathrooms that you can use, but they are obviously cubicles in there. So there are showers and toilets, and in some of the instances baths as well that you can make use of. And again, they're shared between normally around 6 or 7, although some of our shared facilities have more, but of course we provide more shower facilities and cubicles in order to cater for that. And in our new halls of residence in Monty 1, that is our enhanced plus offering, they are down to a ratio of 1 bathroom between 2 people. So next question. This one is again for you, Ros, in relation to allocations. Do you allocate based on degrees or people's backgrounds?
Okay, good question. I touched on this as well briefly. The short answer is no, we don't. We try and allocate students together that we think will get along together, but we try and create diversity and balance in our allocations. So as I said, undergraduates live with undergraduates and postgraduates live with postgraduates. But in terms of courses, we will mix people up so that you're in a flat with people studying all different things. This is so that when you come back from a hard day of lectures and you just need to unwind and switch off and relax, you can do so without seeing people from your course all around you and thinking about deadlines and things. If you want to do study with your course mates, we've got loads of study spaces in halls and also places on campus that you can go to meet up. So if you want to study in the evenings, absolutely fine. There's lots of places you can do that. But if you want to just relax and unwind and not think about your course for a few hours, you have the environment to do that.
Cool. Thank you for that, Ros. Now one I'm going to put in your direction, Sophie. So someone asked, can you apply as a duo stroke with a friend?
Thank you. So as a new undergraduate, if you're applying for single occupation accommodation, no, you can't apply it as a friend. If you're looking to apply as a couple or for shared accommodation, then you can apply together. So that's the couples option on the accommodation application. You'll then be presented a set of preferences for 1 and 2 bed flats in the Mayflower, City Gateway and Gower halls. It's just worth noting, if you do apply for couples accommodation, we can't guarantee that you'll be given an offer for that.
Cool, thank you for that, Sophie. Another one for you, Ros. As a minor in September 2021, as well as an international student, will that make me more eligible for accommodation in a hall?
In fact, it doesn't, because you will be covered by the accommodation guarantee that everybody else is covered by. You'll need to be 16 years old as a minimum to live in halls, but then apart from that, as long as you apply by the 1st of August, you're covered by the accommodation guarantee.
Fantastic, thank you for that, Ros. Next one for you, Rachel and Ash. Someone has asked, what is a showroom? So can I hand that over to you, Rachel?
Hi, yeah, of course. So a showroom is essentially a room that we show to prospective students, you know, to sell our halls. So if you did opt to live in a show flat, it would mean that there is a room within that flat that we do show to students. So it would mean that you might have visitors coming in and out to look at that particular room, and the communal kitchen and communal bathrooms, if there were them there as well. We do offer students money to, you know, allow us to come in and out of their flat. So if that's something that you might be interested in, then do click that option when you apply.
Cool, thank you for that, Rachel. We've got one here on how do you know which contract length to pick? So I'm happy to answer that one. So for most undergraduate courses, you will be looking at a course that runs from late September through to June, July kind of times. So that's all covered by our 36, 38 and 40-week contracts. Just to highlight, the 36-week contract, which only covers a small number of our halls, doesn't include Easter. That's made very aware to you when you apply, and it may be an option that you wish to pick. So for the 4 weeks of the Easter break, you would need to vacate your room, but all of our other contracts, you wouldn't need to vacate for the whole period that your contract runs. If you are doing a course that potentially has a summer placement, what we would recommend is that you apply for a 40-week contract, and then nearer the time when you know whether your placement, quite often these placements are sometimes in Southampton, sometimes not, so you don't know whether you still need to be in Southampton. You normally find that out in the earlier part of the year, and to cater for that, we open a summer extension request form in around March time each year. And so if that applies to you, you can then apply to extend your contract if you need to, and if not, because your placement is elsewhere, then you don't need to worry about anything, because your contract will cover as long as you need, but it won't cover that summer period which you no longer require. But what I'd say is we have our contracts are there obviously to meet the academic needs of our students, and we're well versed in knowing what academic needs there are across the faculties. So there will be a contract there to suit you. So on to the next question. If I can put this one your way, Ros, can I apply to more than one room type in a single hall?
Yes, you can. When you view the hall page in the application, it will show you all the different room types and contract lengths that there are available at that hall. If you've absolutely set your heart on living at Mayflower, for instance, you can pick the different kinds of ensuite rooms that are at Mayflower. You can fill your application up that way. Equally, if you absolutely have your heart set on an ensuite room, you can apply for ensuite rooms at all the different halls. So you have to put 3 to 5 preferences, and they can be anything on the form that you can click.
Cool, thank you for that, Ros. Right. Next question. If I can put this one towards you, Sophie. So people are asking about whether they need to pay a deposit for moving into our halls. So if I hand that over to you, Sophie.
Thank you. So new undergraduates applying for halls don't need to pay a deposit.
Cool, thank you very much. Right, next one. So, sorry, Ros, I keep coming back to you, but this one is, when do we get told what accommodation we are awarded? Sorry.
We send out most of the accommodation offers after A-level results are released, so mid-August. It takes a while to send them all out because we have a lot of rooms, so the allocation offer process runs from mid-August to the first couple of weeks in September. If your place at Southampton is not confirmed, then obviously you don't get an accommodation offer, so we have to wait for that to happen, and then we start sending the offers out.
you very much, Roz. There's a question here that I'll answer on. Someone's asked, what about students with children? So if you have family requirements, then we do have some 1-bedroom flats, 2-bedroom flats, and we also have some university-owned housing as well. None of that's covered by our accommodation guarantee, but because we have limited numbers of those stock. But if that is is your situation, you have a child or you have a family that you're bringing with you when you come to study, then we do have options available, and there's further details on our website. What I would say is, in terms of those 1-bed flats and 2-bed flats, some of those are at one of our postgraduate halls, City Gateway, but the other ones would be away from kind of undergraduate halls. Imagine if you've got a young child, you wouldn't want to be next to a flat full of undergraduates. So, but if that is the case, feel free to contact us and we can give you further details. But so there are details on the website as well. Right, so next question. Sophie, if I can give this one to you, it says, do you have to accept your offer first before applying for accommodation? So I presume this means your course offer. Are you okay to pick that one up, Sophie?
Yep, that's no problem. So you do need to have put Southampton as your firm or insurance choice first. That just means then you are sent your student ID number, which you need to be able to apply for halls. Just to preface, as I know it's been said before, but even if you are an insurance student, you can still make an application for halls.
Cool, thank you very much, Sophie. Rachel, if I could put this one in your direction, it says, are all single gender flats in the same block? Would an all girls flat be next to an all boys flat? I can hand this over to you, Rachel.
Hi, yeah, sure. So no, that's not the case. All of our single gender flats are dotted across all of our sites. They're not in a particular area or on a particular floor or in a particular block. They're completely spread across all different hall sites.
Cool, thank you, Rachel. Right, next one. This question about the content from this week itself, saying, how long will this week's videos be available for? Will it be until the 1st of August, please? Yes, our event website will be available up until the 1st of August. And again, so you'll be able to look at all the content that we've got on there right up to that date. So if at a later date you want to put your application in and just want to remind yourself on what's on offer or the application process itself, then you can go back and refer to that webpage. In addition, there's lots of guidance on our website, and there's also a written guide in terms of how to apply as well. So make use of those resources there. So back to questions. So if I can go back to you on this one, Rachel, it says, if you have a shared bathroom, will that be in a same gender flat automatically?
Hello again. So if you are in a single gender flat, that is a non-ensuite. You will only share those bathrooms with the people within your flat, so you would only share them with a single gender. So you wouldn't be sharing them with anyone else, only the people in your flat.
So yeah, if you apply for single gender, then you will get a single gender flat. But what I say is that in terms of all our shared bathroom facilities or flats with shared bathroom facilities, they're not all single gender. We do have mixed gender, but if you do apply for single gender, we will put you in a single gender shared bathroom flat, if that will make sense. Right, so got a question here that I'm happy to pick up on. It says, what is the difference between an enhanced ensuite and the standard ensuite room type? So standard room type, as you can imagine, is our standard offer. So as an ensuite room, you obviously get bed, desk chair, and then in your ensuite you get a shower room, a shower cubicle, sorry, and a wash basin. In our enhanced offering. So again, you get all the same kind of things, but sometimes the room's slightly bigger, or you would get a slightly larger bed. In terms of the communal facilities, these areas normally have a larger communal kitchen, a bit more spacious, and in some instances more recently refurbished or more recently built as well. So that's kind of, if you take a look at some of the pictures that we have on our website, will give you an idea of what the difference is between them. And again, you can also check on the videos from earlier this week as well, which will give you an insight and show you some of the pictures of the facilities as well. Right, question here for Hannah, if it's okay. So someone has asked, when you leave for the holidays, do you have to pack up all your things and take them home?
Sure. So it really depends what contract type you're on. We do offer a couple of 36-week contracts, and if that's the case, you might have to take all of your stuff home for Easter. But generally, in most halls on the 38, 40, 51-week contracts, you are welcome to leave whatever you would like in halls when you go home.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Hannah. Kind of following on from a question I answered earlier, so I'll put this, it says, if you extend your contract because of placement, will you keep your existing room? So that's not guaranteed. What I would say is, where possible, obviously we can try and keep you in the same room, but in some instances you will need to move to another room for the summer. But as I say, where possible, we do try and keep people the same, both for your convenience and just obviously lack of takes a lot less time if you don't have to do any moving. Right. Question here. If I go to, sorry, thank you for all your questions coming in. I'm just trying to keep up to date with them all. Roz, if I can put this one towards you, it says, where would I stay in my course if my course start date is on the 1st of September? And I think we had a similar one saying, if my course starts on the 1st of September, do I need to specify this anywhere on my application? What I would say first, before I hand over to Roz, is there quite often a 1st of September will show as your kind of course start date, but that doesn't necessarily mean when your lectures and everything starts. But some courses do have earlier start dates. So I will hand over to Roz on that one.
So this is a slightly complicated question. The courses that tend to start very early, which would be around the 1st of September, tend to be things like PGCE courses, which probably wouldn't apply to anyone here today. If that does apply to you, then contact us at accommodation@southampton.ac.uk and we can advise you what to do. But as Carl said, it is common for your course to look like it starts on the 1st of September, but actually you're not required to be here until maybe the 3rd week in September. So double check that. If you make an application and you think your course starts earlier than the contracts that we've got available, please write that in the notes box at the end of the application. You saw the video earlier on. When you get to the end of the application, there's a big box where you can just type whatever you want in there. Anything like that you think we need to know about because it doesn't quite fit in with what you've been able to choose, just type it out and we read all the notes that we get on the applications. And if we need to contact you to clarify anything or to double check anything on your course status, we will be in touch with you to do that. So we'll be able to get you what you need. We might just need to have a bit of back and forth with you to work out exactly what that is.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Roz. And sorry for chucking a complicated one your way. Right, next one. James, if I could hand this one over to you. Someone's asked, are there halls more suited for certain degrees, like closer to where you'll be going for seminars?
That's a really good question. Sorry, I forgot to unmute myself there. To put it simply, it really doesn't matter which halls you're at compared to kind of which courses you're on. There are some halls that are going to be closer to certain teaching campuses, but the thing that I'd say is that all of our halls are linked up really well by our Unilink bus service. So no matter where you are, you can get to any of the teaching campuses. The example I'll give you is that I was actually a student in Hull quite a long time ago now. I lived at Wessex Lane, and I had I was studying at Highfield campus mainly. It was about 20 minutes on the bus up to campus, no issues at all. I had two flatmates who both studied at the NOC. They were doing marine biology courses. and they had no issues at all getting down there either. And it's kind of the opposite end of where our halls are located compared to a teaching campus. It's super easy. Don't worry about it. Don't base your decision on the exact location of the hall. Base it on which hall you think fits you.
Fantastic. Thank you, James. Next one. Rachel, if I can come to you on this one. It says, are all flat members responsible for cleaning, or is there a cleaner that comes every so often?
Hello. So all flat members are responsible for cleaning up after themselves in communal kitchens and bathrooms. We do provide a little whiteboard rota on each fridge in each flat, which you can use to say which person's going to, wipe down the work surfaces, which person's going to clean out the fridge. So you can use that. With regards to our domestic services team, we do have a team on site. This year they haven't been going into residential areas due to the pandemic, but they did used to go in once a week just to clean communal areas, and they still do carry out communal areas where students don't live, cleaning touch points and things at the moment. But it is pretty much the responsibility of students to clean up after themselves.
Cheers, thank you for that, Rachel. And if you want to get a bit more information regarding our offering from domestic services, we had Dan Barnes in our session yesterday covering everything they're doing, both in regard to the pandemic, but also in regard to their normal offering in relation to cleaning. So if you want to, again, you can catch up on that. So next question. This is one for you, Ros, again. Someone has asked, is it possible to change rooms if you are not satisfied?
It's not impossible, but before we move anyone's rooms, we'd like to help you to settle into that room better. So if there's a problem with the room itself, if there's like a maintenance issue with the room, we've got a system for you to report faults and we'll get them fixed. If you are not comfortable with your flatmates, then we'll ask you to go and talk to one of the support services, such as our student life team. If you're just generally struggling with the whole transition to university, we might suggest you talk to one of the other support services, such as first support, or maybe even enabling services if there's something that you need to help you to settle in to your time at university. If those support services conclude after talking to you that the most appropriate solution to your issues is for you to move rooms, then we can facilitate that, but we want you to engage with the support services beforehand, because the vast majority of people who ask to move rooms have a problem that can be solved, and we've got so many great people to help you settle in and have a comfortable and happy time here. So we want you to talk to them before we move you around.
Cheers, thank you, Ros. One thing that's also worth highlighting in regard to that is every year we always get people who turn up on the intake weekend who we found have had an accident recently, or maybe broken an ankle or something along those lines. If that is the case, let us know before you arrive, and then we will try and get you a ground floor room or something suitable. But again, hopefully that won't be the case, but it does seem to be something that we get every year. So always make us aware before you arrive if there's any additional needs that you have. James, I've got another one for you, if that's okay. So someone has asked, does every residence have a cafeteria? And I guess a bit further than that in terms of just give an idea of what our part catered offering is.
Oh yeah, happy to answer. So only one of our halls offers part catering at the moment, and what I'd recommend you do is go back to our Tuesday webinar. If you missed it, just have a look at the video on demand on the website, and we've got some lovely pictures of the catering option available at Wessex Lane. So Wessex Lane does offer both self-catered and part catered accommodation. It must be said that for sites with that kind of arrangement, even if you are self-catered, you can go and get meals from the canteen. You kind of pay as you go. Whereas for the part catered students, it's all included, and you kind of just wave your card as you go through and pick up your grub. In terms of how it would work for other people if you weren't able to kind of cook for yourself on a particular day, There are kind of lots of restaurants and cafes around our halls. What I'd recommend doing is have a look at the halls that you're interested in, bring it up on Google Maps, and just have a look at the surrounding area, and you'll see all the kind of offerings there.
Cheers. Thank you, James. A few people have been asking where to find the recorded sessions. So if you go to the top of the Q&A, what you'll find there is that there is a link there to the event webpage, and we will also post it near the end of the Q&A as well. It will also be in some of the communications that you've received over the week as well. So again, you won't miss that. After the event, we also send out some communications to you as well, and there'll be links to all the content there as well. So there's a few different ways that you can get to it, but as I say, there is a link in the Q&A during this session. Got a few questions here on how many bathrooms there are, how many people are sharing bathrooms in certain flats. So in regard to that, I'll take that one. So there's not a set number, and it does vary across sites in terms of our shared accommodation areas. Well, first of all, in terms of ensuite, just to make it clear, that all en-suites are individual use for that person in that room, of course. In our shared facilities, as I say, it does range slightly. So in terms of our larger flats, in terms of shared bathrooms, you'd be looking at 12. In our new Monty one, they are slightly even bigger flats than that, although I can't remember the exact number. But in regard to the bathroom ratios in terms of toilets and showers, you're looking at 2 to 1 in those kind of areas. In some of our other areas, it is slightly more than that. So, for example, down at Connaught, you'd be looking at maybe 3-4 people per cubicle. But again, there's lots of cubicles there. There's lots of wash basins. So again, it works well in terms of you won't find the time that everyone's going at the same time, and you tend to find that people get into routines there. The one benefit of having shared bathroom areas, and again, outside of pandemic times, is that our domestic services team do go in and assist with the cleaning, although that offer at the moment has been restricted due to current government restrictions. But as I say, there is a range and a ratio in terms of our categories. The higher you go up in terms of the more enhanced or enhanced plus offerings, the better the ratios are in terms of bathrooms. One question again on applying, so I'll go to you on this one, Ros. Says, does applying for 2 room types at the same halls count as 2 choices?
Yes, it does. Each time you click one of the options on the application form, that's a choice. So as I think I said earlier on, if you decide that you really want to live in one particular hall and you click 2 different room types in that hall, you can click 3 different room types in that hall if you want to, but each one is a preference. So yes.
Cool, thank you very much. Actually, if I come back to you again, Ros, sorry, another in terms of how long do we have to accept our accommodation offer?
When you're made your accommodation offer, you get an email. We also ask you to keep checking the accommodation portal after the A-level results are released so that you don't miss your accommodation offer, and it will state a deadline on there. It's usually about 4 days, I think, but it will state that on your email and on the accommodation portal, and we do ask you to keep checking it regularly once your results are known so that you don't miss your offer.
Cheers, thank you, Ros. One for you, Hannah, if this is okay. We've had a couple of questions in regard to are we allowed to put posters up in bedrooms, and just kind of general query about decorating or personalising your room, and also a bit about what people should bring with them in terms of cutlery and plates. Am I okay to hand that one to you?
Yeah, sure. So cutlery, plates, things like that, you will need to bring with you. For larger kind of kitchen stuff, I'd always say wait until you meet your flatmates, because otherwise you might end up turning up and you've got 10 toasters and 10 kettles all in your kitchen. So it's probably best to wait for some bits, meet all your flatmates and see if you want to go in and kind of buy things together. With regards to your rooms, you will all have quite a large pin board in your room, so you can kind of pin anything up you want on there. Generally, we wouldn't really like you putting stuff all over the walls, just in case it does leave marks or damage it in any way. And you will need to bring bedding and things like that with you. The university does have a company we use, so you can purchase bits before you arrive and it will get delivered to the halls and we can take it up ready for when you get here. So they do bedding, cutlery, everything like that.
Cheers. Thank you very much, Hannah. We've got a question here on how does the payment process work? Can you choose to pay weekly, monthly, or all in one go? I'm happy to cover that one. So in terms of a payment process, when you accept your offer, you will see that your offered accommodation will be, in terms of the payments, will be broken down into, well, presuming you're on a 36, 38 or 40-week contract, will be broken down into 3 instalments. If you're on a 51-week contract, that will be 4 instalments. The first one normally goes out in October, the next one in January, and then the last one normally dependent on a bit when Easter is, but is normally in March, April time. So as soon as you accept, you'll see exactly how that's broken down and when that money is due. It tends to go, we've timed that in kind of line with maintenance loans and things like that to make it easy as well. But as soon as you accept your offer, you'll know exactly how that's broken down and how that's and when you need to pay. In regard to how you pay, you can pay by a rolling card payment, which you can register the details for when you accept, and that's the kind of best way of doing it. If you ever need to change those details at any time, you can do that via online via the Banner self-service app. So again, you can update that during the year if you've got any concerns regarding that. And I would just say generally, if you've ever got any concerns regarding any financial issues or anything, our Student Support Hub have got lots of people who can help. You can talk to and advise you on that as well. So next question. So quite a few people are asking about the non-alcohol flats which were highlighted in the presentation. Are they quieter? Can you still have a party if you want to? And just generally in terms of how busy and quiet are the quiet flats? So James, if I'm okay to come to you regarding the quiet flats and how that works, is that okay?
Absolutely. So the way basically that, let me just put myself on screen here. So quiet flats, it's one of those things where all of the people who we put in a quiet flat have requested to be in a quiet flat. So there's kind of an expectation that, you know, you'll all work together and kind of make sure that the environment you live in is one that you're all happy to live in. It doesn't necessarily mean that you all have to be, you know, deathly quiet the entire time. There's absolutely an expectation that you will respect each other's kind of environment that you're in. Our student life team would be the first port of call if there was some kind of issue, obviously beyond just speaking to the person who might be being noisier than you'd expect, but they can kind of help mediate any kind of discussion between you in order to kind of get that resolved. Was there a second part to that as well, Carl? Can you just remind me, please?
There was also talking about alcohol-free flats and how that works.
So it's very much kind of the same thing, because you'd all be putting down that you want to live in an alcohol-free flat. There is again that expectation that you'll all respect each other's kind of lifestyle choices. It doesn't mean necessarily that there will be a zero tolerance policy. We don't breathalyze students, for instance, but again, it would be something where we would ask that people respect each other, and also if there was any kind of issues, then Student Life would be the team that would be able to help you out with that.
Thank you, James. Yeah, one thing I would say is that alcohol-free flats are not guaranteed, but obviously we try and get many people who've put that preference together, and yeah, very much is then highlighted to all of the occupants when that's the case. Just to flag that we will, due to the amount of questions that we had, we will close the Q&A very shortly so that we can try and get through as many of the questions that we've already had submitted. Thank you for all your questions. So we'll try and get through as many as possible. Right, Ros, if I could come back to, there's someone that is asking, can you change the contract midway through the year?
When you accept your accommodation offer, the contract length is part of that, and the contract that you accept is legally binding. So we do expect you to adhere to the length of contract that you've accepted. If something changes sort of fundamentally in your course, for instance, if you decide to withdraw, we very much hope you don't, but if you do, then you can apply to be released from your contract. But it really is only very exceptional circumstances that we shorten contracts, and it normally entails you leaving the university completely, and we don't want you to do that. If you need to lengthen your contract, again, that is something that we would look to do by offering you another contract on the end of the one that you've got. That might involve moving rooms depending on where you are in the halls. So my advice would be to double check what length of contract is most suitable for you before you accept your offer. And if what we've offered you isn't suitable, get in touch and we'll see what we can do before you accept anything. It's much more difficult to change things after you've accepted an offer.
Cheers. Thank you, Ros. Right, next I've got a question. If I can put this one your way, Rachel. So it's in regard to how, firstly, what is a TV license and how does it work and how does that relate to halls? So I guess a student, if they have a TV in their room, what do they need to do?
Thanks, Carl. So living in halls, you are required to buy a TV license. We don't provide TVs in our bedrooms, which I know is a question that a lot of people like to know the answer to, but you are welcome to bring one along. You would have to go onto the TV license website, where there's a specific student page which will tell you details on how to get a TV license. It just essentially means that you're able to watch live TV and BBC iPlayer without getting fined.
Cool, thank you very much, Rachel. Question here, do the en-suites have toilets? Yes, they do. Right, do we need to provide our own curtains? Sorry, a couple of quick ones here. No, you don't. All our rooms come with curtains or blinds, so you don't need to worry in regard to those kind of soft furnishings. Hannah, if I can put this one in your direction, and again, this very much has a little caveat in terms of the current restrictions we are living under, but it says, can family visit? You okay to take that one, Hannah?
Yeah, absolutely. So at the minute, we are restricting the visitors to halls for obvious reasons. But if we forget about the pandemic, which I don't think we can do just right now, yes, you can have visitors. Visitors can come to stay for, normally we say up to 3 days. They should be over the age of 18. If you want someone coming to stay for a little bit longer, you do need to email in to us just to get permission and let us know that they're going to be there for a little bit longer. But if friends or family are just coming down to visit for the day, that's absolutely fine. Obviously, most of the rooms do only have a single bed, so if you have got friends coming from home as well, might be a bit of a squeeze, but an overnight visitor is fine. We do say not to have too many visitors too frequently, especially if you are in a single gender flat, just because if it is, I don't know, a brother or a partner that's coming to visit and you're in a all girls flat, then obviously the other females in the flat might not like having the male in there. So be courteous to your flatmates, let them know that you have got people coming to visit, but generally when the pandemic allows us to, you're more than welcome to have visitors.
Thank you, Hannah. Someone has asked a question here in terms of, if bringing our own desk and chair, could we get the provided ones removed? What I would say is, if you want to bring your own chair with you, then yes, we can remove the chair that we have provided. What I would say is, with the desks, that would very much depend on which room you're in. In a lot of our rooms, the desk is already attached. It's either to the wall or the floor, and therefore it's not something that we can remove, certainly not easily at any rate. So it would very much depend on where you would be. But what I would say is the desks are a good size. They have sets of drawers in them as well. So again, hopefully they should provide everything you need, and you wouldn't need to have bring your own. However, if you do have an additional needs, again, I don't know the reasons behind wanting to bring your own desk and chair, but if you do have additional needs, or it's because of a health issue or something along those lines, and you have needs, then again, let us know or get in contact with Enabling, and we will see what we can do. Right. What other questions do we have here? Got a question here. If I could put this one toward you, James. It says, when do we know about our flatmates? Is it before or after entering the halls?
So you'll basically find out who your flatmates are when you move in. We don't disclose that kind of information beforehand. There's basically two reasons for it. Firstly, kind of data protection. There's no way that we'd be able to do that. It would kind of invade the privacy of anyone who maybe wouldn't want that information known. The other one is a kind of a much more almost mechanical reason, is that we often have to shuffle people around. Ros alluded to this in her presentation, that a lot of the allocations go on kind of fairly late on through the kind of start of September. So we wouldn't be able to release that kind of information because, let's say, for instance, as Carl alluded to in his part, someone has broken their leg and we need to move their room. We might be able to do that like a day or something before they move in, which means we need to shuffle people around slightly. So the simple answer is no, you won't be finding out who your flatmates are before you arrive. You will find out often with a degree of granularity where you're going to be staying in terms of maybe your block. So have a look at your offer when it comes through. I will say there's often kind of social media groups, things on WhatsApp, on Facebook, where you can kind of speak to other people who will be moving into the same halls as you. We don't control any of that. We don't kind of put any of those groups together, but do have a look around because they pop up every year and it can be a nice way to speak to people before you arrive.
Cool, thank you very much, James. Hannah, if this, I've got another one put your direction. So someone has asked, is there a communal kitchen in the flat if you are in a part catered accommodation?
Yep, sure. So it won't be a massive full-size kitchen like people would have who are self-catered, but all of our part catered accommodation do have little pantry kitchens. So there will be some cupboards, microwave, and a fridge in there for you to use.
Excellent, thank you for that, Hannah. Just to highlight, we've only got a few minutes left, so again, we'll try and get through as many questions as possible. So what have we got next here? Had a question here, I guess a bit more clarification in terms of what needs to happen. Someone says, should I email enabling services if my course starts on the 1st of September? If not, then who? Ros, could I put this one towards you, please?
Sorry, was that just if the course starts on the 1st of September?
Yes, it said, should I email enabling services if my course starts on the 1st of September? If not, okay, then who?
Email enabling services if you think you might need an adaptation to your room, if you might need grab rails put in place, or if you might need wheelchair access, that kind of thing. If you're just not sure about your start date or just want to know about your contract length options or your accommodation preference options based on your contract start date, then email accommodation@sotton.ac.uk, which is the standard accommodation address for today, and we will check your record and see what we can advise you.
Cheers, thank you for that, Ros. A question here I'll pick up, it says, are enhanced rooms in the same flat as standard rooms, or are flats based on one room type? As a general rule, yes, you'll find in one flat that all the room types will be the same. There's a few areas where that's not quite the case. In Mayflower, there are a few slightly mixed flats between standard and enhanced en suites, but on the whole, you will find that in flats, all of the rooms are the same room category. So next one. Says, I guess again, this is kind of clarifying a point that we've already raised, but it's always worth reiterating. Again, if I put this one towards you, James, if that's okay. Should you apply for accommodation for Southampton if Southampton is your insurance choice?
Absolutely. So our guarantee covers both firm and insurance choice students. So if you've put us down as your insurance choice, please do apply for accommodation.
And Roz, if I can ask you, following on from that, again, along a similar theme, are you more likely to receive your first choice of accommodation if Southampton is your firm choice?
No, you're not. Once you've been confirmed as studying at Southampton, we just see you as an unconditional offer holder at that point. So once we get to the stage where we're sending out accommodation offers and doing the allocation process, we can't really tell the difference between who's put Southampton as their firm or insurance. So we'd obviously like you to put Southampton as your firm choice because it's great here and we want you to come. But if you don't, then, well, it won't disadvantage you when it comes to accommodation.
Cool, thank you, Roz. And one final question, which I'll ask to chairs, if that's okay. We've been getting lots of questions about decorating your room and what you can and can't do and what you should and shouldn't bring. Okay to hand that one over to you?
Yeah, no problem. So you could, I'm Chaz, sorry, I should present myself. I'm Chaz. I was an undergraduate and I graduated last year and I'm staying for master's, so I've been in Southampton for 3 years. I would say based on what you can bring, anything that it's in line with the university. So when you come, you'll have all of the available links to see what equipment you have. So consoles, monitors, that should be all right generally, but you have to check. Any other thing, you always have to check. And sorry, could you repeat the last part of the question?
Yeah, so a lot of people asking about decorating their room.
Okay,
and what,
decorating your room,
you
yes.
can do, yeah.
So I would say you can decorate because you're going to have a panel in your room, so you can decorate that. And any other decoration, I'll check out your reception and see what you can do or what you cannot do, because sometimes you use blue tack, for example, and it sticks to the wall and it damages it. So I would say make sure to ask questions before you go full on decorating the room.
Cool. Thank you, Chaz. So yeah, as just mentioned, that our rooms do have notice boards. So again, if you've got stuff you want to pin up, you can use the notice boards in the rooms. Anywhere else, try and use things like blue tack and stuff, hopefully non-marking things. But again, and you can bring soft furnishings as well, just to make those personal touches. Again, lots of people like to pin up photos on the boards or stick up photos using blue tack, again, just to give you that a taste of home. So, right. Looks like we're over our time now, so thank you very much for everyone who has submitted questions, and we tried to get through as many as we could. As we mentioned previously, any questions we didn't get to, we're going to try and cover the main topics and themes of those questions and produce a video very shortly after the event. Another reminder that we do have the event website with all the content. Again, a link has been posted to that in the Q&A, so you can go on that anytime between now and 1st of August and you'll be able to check out all of the content, all of the live sessions this week and all the supporting content that we had on there as well. So that just leaves me to say thank you very much for everyone who attended our sessions this week and today. Thank you for all your questions. We hope it was useful and we're able to give you some insight into our halls of residence and the city of Southampton and all the support services available. So just leaves me to say thank you very much for today. Thank you to everyone on our panel for answering the questions, and we hope to see a number of you in September. Thank you very much.